Thank you for joining us here this morning for the rearranged parent workshop for our sixth form here at DCIS. Just to give you a bit of an outline, we'll start by talking about the International Baccalaureate, and then later on I'll be handing over to Mrs. Highland and Mr. Burren, who are going to be talking a bit about our BTEC programme that will be starting up next year. I'd like to start off just thinking about last year's results. So up on the board there you can see that from our cohort last year we had a 100% pass rate for the diploma, and our average subject grade was 5.1, which also included for the highest score of a score of 41 out of 45, which is an incredible achievement, and we're hoping to get similar or better grades this year. Just to let you know, these slides will be going on the school website, so don't worry too much about taking notes and photos. We'll make those these slides available for you later on. So to give you an outline of how today is going to look, we'll be talking about what is the International Baccalaureate, thinking about how the IB is structured. I'll give an overview of the programmes that we offer here and the subject options that are available. And we'll also talk a little bit about the application details, but obviously I think looking around, a lot of you are, your students are in year 10 and year 9 and you're thinking ahead, which is fantastic. And then you'll also be able to have a chance to speak to us at the end if you've got any further questions regarding that. So when thinking about what is the IB diploma, it's a challenging and balanced programme of study for students that are aged challenging and balanced programme for students aged 16 to 19. It offers very rigorous assessment, as we see in the exams and the internal assessments that we do here, and it offers students access to over 2,000 universities across the world. Another factor in the IB diploma, with it being an international qualification, is that it's not rooted in the system of one country. It takes the best of a number of different systems and combines them together. I'll show you a short video now from the IB which gives you a bit of that overview.
I think the IB Diploma program puts the student in a center of a very global context.
The emphasis is on the process of knowing. Once they get their hands on the process, they will continue with that love for learning, so they are more interested in how to learn.
DP, it really gives you a lot of opportunity to challenge yourself.
I can learn to step out of boundaries without breaking the rules. Traditional schooling doesn't teach that.
They don't just understand individual subjects, they understand the context of those subjects. So I think they have a broader base of understanding how individual subjects fit into just knowledge as a whole.
It really integrates the community more. They become quite a part of the school because they're involved in the various activities.
It gives the students a much broader view of life, and it prepares them in a much better way.
It allows for that flexibility to be able to meet different needs of students to maximize the potential.
The diploma program offers a wonderful opportunity. Once you're in university, the payoffs are enormous.
Our DP learners go off to university and they come back and they say, I feel really equipped for this. That confidence will carry them through further.
CAS gives me the opportunity to be better at things that aren't strictly academic and help other people.
Next investing, it really opens your mind and view on the world. If I were in another system, I wouldn't think of writing or researching on a topic in such depth.
Learning doesn't only happen in the classroom, but it's a continuous experience that should go on throughout your entire life.
In TLK, we basically question things like, how do we know what we know? Who determines what is right and wrong?
It sort of instills this life experience in you that you would use somewhere else, whether it is with your family when you grow up or with your friends.
You're always learning whilst you're on an adventure, and it's a personal adventure.
At the end of the diploma program, you have a very knowledgeable student.
Now there's quite a few acronyms in there, so don't worry too much if you didn't understand what some of those are. Hopefully I'll be able to clarify those later on. We do love an acronym in education, so I'll clear some of those up later on. The IB The IB Learner Profile is a series of traits that we expect students to develop, and these traits really underpin what the students do inside and outside the classroom. So you can see some things up there like being knowledgeable, being principled, good communicators, open-minded. And so those are things that we're looking to develop within students throughout their courses and in the extra things that they do outside of class. And you'll see that those tie in quite nicely with some of the traits that we're looking for in our vision here at Dover Court. So you've got things like care, reflection, inquiry that really match up with those. So hopefully our students lower down the school are already developing those traits, and they continue to do that, along with some others when they come on to do the IB. So the different programs that we offer here at Dover Court are outlined on the board. So we've got Programme 1, which is the IB Diploma Programme, also known as IBDP. Programme 2, which is IB courses with 3 HL, HL meaning higher level subjects, and I'll talk more about that shortly. Programme 3 is IB courses, and then Programme 4 is BTEC Business, which is what Mr. Burren and Mrs. Hyland will talk to you about later on. So the structure of the IB programme involves a curriculum that's modelled by a circle that has 6 academic areas that surround 3 core requirements of the diploma. So each subject that they choose is graded from 1 to 7 points, and then the core elements combined are worth a total of 3 points. So that makes the maximum number of points available 45, so it kind of puts into context our student last year who managed to score 41 points. The 3 of the subjects that students choose from those 6 would be studied at a higher level, and 3 of those would be studied at a standard level. The difference between high level and standard level is sometimes extra content, extra assessment, slightly different grading criteria, but that depends on the subject. It varies between subjects. And then once they've chosen their 6 subjects, the 3 core elements are outlined at the bottom there, and you can see some of those further abbreviations. So we've got extended essay, which is abbreviated to EE, theory of knowledge, also known as TOK or TOC, and creativity, activity and service, which is our CAS element. So just to give you a view of that kind of, as an image, there's our 3 core elements that all students studying the diploma would take, and then you've got the 6 groups of subjects that students choose from. So you can see there the breadth of study that is involved. So students would choose a subject from the maths, sciences, individuals and societies, language and literature, language acquisition and the arts. So it's a really broad level of study that students take. To give you a bit further information about those 3 core elements, the creativity, activity, service involves students pursuing ideas outside the classroom that involve them using their creative skills, involving physical exertion, and also involving service to the community. So whether that's within our community here at school, but also outside in the broader community of Singapore and more globally. The theory of knowledge section is a discipline which involves students kind of really looking at the nature of knowledge and how we know what we know, and really questioning that, and it's quite a philosophical kind of subject as they get to grips with how we kind of interpret the world around us. And that's marked by a presentation and also by a 1,600-word essay that the students write. And then the extended essay part is a very independent, self-directed piece of research which results in a 4,000-word written paper. And the students have a supervisor for that, so they have someone who guides them, but very much the onus is on the students being independent in their pursuit of that. So for Programme 1, the entry requirements that we expect for students that are taking the full diploma are that they've got a minimum of 5 IGCSEs or equivalent, grades 5 to 9, including English and maths. For students to study a subject at a higher level, they should be getting a grade 6 or above at GCSE, and for a standard level subject, they should be achieving a grade 5 or above at GCSE. For high-level maths, that entry requirement is a bit higher, and for students that are looking to do high-level maths, we would expect to see them getting an 8 or a 9 for their GCSE. Programme 2, following on now from IB Diploma, is IB courses, and with 3 subjects studied at a higher level. So Students would choose a minimum of 4 subjects, and 3 of those would need to be at a higher level. Those students would be examined in exactly the same way as the students that are taking the full diploma, so they'd be in the same classes, they'd be studying the same content and taking the same assessments and examinations. Those students wouldn't be meeting the needs of the full diploma, but they are encouraged to still take those core elements of CAS, EE and TOK. But the benefit of IB courses is that there's much more flexibility for us to tailor the programme to a student's needs based on things like how they've got on in GCSEs and which subjects they wish to take. The programme 2 entry requirements are similar but slight change. So minimum 5 GCSEs are equivalent at grades 5 to 9. The same expectations for whether you're taking higher level and standard level. But in addition, we expect students should have studied the subjects at GCSE or similar subjects, so that they're not going into brand new subjects having not studied it at a lower level like GCSE. Our third programme is straight IB courses. Again, kind of similar to the IB courses with 3HL, except the students have got more flexibility as to whether they study those subjects at a higher level or a standard level. And again, we would encourage students to take on the elements of CAS, extended essay and TOK, but also they still have that flexibility to adapt that programme to best suit their needs. And the entry requirements for programme 3 are very much the same for programme 2, as you can see on the board. So that's kind of an outline of our 3 main programmes for the International Baccalaureate. Just to go back to the diploma for a moment, so for students to be awarded the full diploma, they must pass at least 3 courses at high level and 3 courses at standard level with a minimum score of 24 points. So they must score 24 points or above. They also must fulfil the requirements of the core disciplines, so TOK, CAS, and extended essay, they must pass those. There are a few other stipulations that apply regarding kind of numbers of scores and subjects, but I can go through those if you've got further questions on them. There's quite a long list of them. And then IB courses, if the students try to do the full diploma and they don't quite succeed in meeting all those requirements, they still get rewarded with IB courses, so they still get rewarded for the grades that they've got in those individual subjects and individual disciplines. So these are our subject choices that are available from next year, starting in August. So you can see there's a real breadth there, and we've made an effort over the last couple of years to add to the subject choices that we offer here in school. So last year we added, or for this year we added English literature and also psychology as taught subjects. And next year we've also added sports, exercise and health science to what we can offer here. So that's something that we will hopefully continue to do. With regards to Pomoja, you might see this come up on some of the options forms. Pomoja courses are taught online with a global classroom, and the idea of that is that we can broaden the number of subjects that we can offer. And last year, when our students took Pomoja subjects, they averaged a grade of 5.4, so we were really pleased with that as a result. It does require students to be quite independent because they log in during their Pomoja time, and then they have work that's set and they speak with their teacher and other students as they work through that. So there is a degree of independence required for those. So just to give you an overview of the advantages really of taking the IB, in particular the diploma students, they study a really diverse range of subjects. They're not narrowing their options too soon. They become lifelong learners and they broaden their horizons, particularly through the students in CAS. Universities worldwide recognise and highly regard the IB diploma. So if that's the next step for your son or daughter, that's something that would be a really good selling point for it. And then when the students get to university, they, as you saw in that video, they feel much more prepared for the challenges and the independence that's required there. And of course, overall they become well-rounded individuals and given a variety of options for further education. So with regards to union recognition, Programme 1, the IB diploma gives access to many of the world's universities, including the very top universities around. Programme 2 is recognised by a variety of universities in a variety of countries, but not quite as widely as the IB diploma. So we would recommend doing some research into that, into those next steps. And then the last programme, IB courses, is intended more for students that are looking to continue in further education, but are not necessarily looking at university as being their next step. So with regards to those next steps, students do receive personalised guidance on university entrance and their options once they finish in the sixth form from our university and guidance counsellor, Mrs. Cathro. So they do get the chance to discuss that and to explore those options. Students and parents also will get a careers bulletin. So that news bulletin has information about things like university fairs that are going on, any talks that are being held in school or outside of school, so that you can keep abreast of those things. And throughout the year, students will also be given the opportunity to attend university and careers fairs, either here or at other schools or places around Singapore. I'll hand over now to Mr. Burren, who's going to be talking to you about Programme 4, which is our BTEC business.
Morning everyone, nice to see you all here. So I'm going to try and put some meat on the bones of our new programme of study, which we're calling Programme 4, and it's the International BTEC in Business. Now this is aimed at any student, it's appropriate for any student where it meets their needs. It's aimed predominantly at those that may not be ready for a level 3 qualification in the sixth form. It is a full 2-year programme of study, as you can see up there. So the students will do it from year 12 through to the end of year 13. And it's the equivalent to 4 GCSE grades. It's not graded the same as GCSEs, it's graded as a pass, a merit, or a distinction. It will give students the opportunity to work on further employability skills, whilst also giving them the chance to do additional AQA functional qualifications in English, Maths and ICT. There will be opportunities within the timetable of the student to retake some of their core GCSEs if they wanted to attempt to achieve a higher grade in those. There'll be a work experience will form a large part of the programme as well, and work experience placements will be sought, and students will be supported in those work experience placements, and those placements contribute towards the assignments they have to produce for the course as well. And there's the opportunity also to be part of the creativity, activity and service programme that all students do in the sixth form. So a really comprehensive opportunity and programme of qualifications for the students to take part in. We're really pleased, we've already appointed the teacher for the business studies lessons, Mrs. Patty. She's coming over from the UK, very, very experienced teacher of BTEC and business studies. So we're really pleased with that appointment of a specialist member of staff to deliver this course for the first time here. So it is an international qualification. It's run by Pearson's at Excel, who are based in the UK. It's aimed at students within the age range of 14 to 19, so therefore fits really nicely with the age of students that are going into the sixth form. If you look in bold there, it's got the entry requirements for students that would like to do this course. There's a minimum of 4 IGCSEs or GCSEs needed, but that can be at any grade. As long as they've got 4 GCSEs or IGCSEs at any grade, and a grade in English, again at any grade, they can access this qualification. The next steps for a student that does this course in the sixth form would not immediately be to go to university, as it's a level 2 qualification. They would need some level 3 qualifications to be able to do that. But it's a stepping stone towards further study, potentially then moving to level 3 qualifications within a college diploma or elsewhere. So although it won't be the stepping stone to university immediately, it could be a smaller stepping stone on the path to university eventually. Sometimes it just takes students a little bit longer to get there, or it could equally be a stepping stone into employability, into an apprenticeship. Obviously, it all depends on where the student is heading after they leave here. So a typical timetable, just to give you an idea of what a typical week might look like, and I emphasise the word might. This is just an example, this isn't the actual timetable, so don't need students to start thinking about where they're going to go on a Thursday for their work experience. But you can see that on a Thursday there, the majority of the day would be to access a work experience placement. That won't be immediately the course starts, it takes time to build up the skills and for the students to make appropriate arrangements for a work experience. That's what's got to be in place ready for the August start, but within the course there will be work experience periods of time that students are out of school for. You can see in there it's built in the opportunities for CAS and other functional qualifications, but ultimately they will have their business lessons pretty much on every day with other things sandwiched in between. This just gives you an idea of the units that they would cover, a flavour of the sorts of things they would be studying. The diploma is 60 credits, so they have to get 60 credits in total. They must take all of the mandatory units, which adds up to 20 credits, and then the rest of the credits have to be made up from the optional units that they will do as a class. So the class have to follow the same optional units as each other, so that the teacher will work on the most appropriate optional units for the class to take. But it gives you an idea of the sorts of things they will be studying over the 2 years. We've got some leaflets at the front with a bit more information if you're interested in this programme of study for your child or young person. If you'd like to come ask me any more questions about that, I'll be hanging around at the end. I'm going to hand over to Mrs. Hyland, who's going to talk about the application process.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your attendance this morning. So I'm just going to talk to you a little bit about the application process for all of our 4 programmes of study. We do require all students, whether they're internal current year 11 students or whether they're external students that are going to be joining us for the sixth form, to submit an application. The purpose of that is to ensure that we have a programme that suits the needs of those learners and we're able to support those learners through that process. All students, as I said, will apply. Generally, they will apply either for one of the IB programmes or the BTEC vocational programme of study. So there are 2 application forms which learners can submit as part of that process. If we believe that students are going to be able to, based on their mock result, based on their teachers on track to achieve grades, to access one of the IB courses, then they will be offered a place subject to meeting the entry requirements. There is, of course, that crossover time when we have to obviously secure their places for the next year, but obviously are awaiting their examination results in August. So the place that they're offered is conditional to meeting those requirements. If for any reason the student doesn't meet the requirements for the full diploma, then we will offer them a course based on their results, bespoke to that need of the students. And we ask for parent support in that process as well. Throughout the course of the IB diploma, if students are on that programme, well, we monitor student progress very, very carefully. And if we do believe that students are going to struggle to achieve the diploma, again, we might recommend a change from programme 1 to programme 2, or from programme 2 to programme 3. All of which is designed to make sure that we're supporting the students, having really achievable but aspirational targets for those students, and ensuring that they get what they need to be able to transfer to that next step after they leave us in year 13. So that's it from us this morning. Thank you very, very much for your attendance. As I said, myself, Mr. Bowen and Mr. O'Shea and Mr. Bull as well are going to be hanging around this morning. If you have any questions, please do come and speak to us. Or if you go away and think of a question, please don't hesitate to contact us and we'll be happy to support you. Ms. Hancock is also at the back as well if you do want to talk about any admissions related inquiries as well. Okay, so thank you very much.